Imagine a single man standing alone against an entire enemy battalion, armed only with his rifle, courage, and unshakable faith. He changes the course of history in just one day. This is no Hollywood movie. It's the real-life story of Sergeant Alvin York, a simple farmer from the hills of Tennessee who became America's greatest hero of World War I. But before the battlefield, before the medals and glory, Alvin's journey began far from the trenches, in a quiet mountain valley where life was hard and faith ran deep. Alvin Cullum York was born in 1887 in the rural community of Pall Mall, Tennessee, growing up as the third of 11 children in a poor farming family. Alvin's childhood was anything but easy. His family worked tirelessly from dawn until dusk just to survive on the rugged Appalachian land. From a young age, Alvin learned the importance of hard work and self-reliance. Hunting wasn't a pastime, it was a necessity, with a simple single-shot rifle. He quickly earned a reputation as one of the best marksmen in his county. People said he could shoot a squirrel in the head from over 100 yards without breaking a sweat. But Alvin wasn't always a quiet, humble man history remembers. As a teenager and young adult, he was known for his quick temper and love for bar fights fueled by moonshine. Saturdays often ended with Alvin in trouble with the law after a brawl or two. He was rebellious, rough around the edges, and far from the hero he would become. Everything changed in 1915. A tragic event in his family shook Alvin to his core and pushed him to reevaluate his life. That's when he experienced a profound spiritual awakening. He joined a local Christian church and made a promise to turn away from violence, drinking, and gambling. Alvin became a devout Christian and a committed pacifist, believing that taking a life was wrong, no matter the circumstance. This new path earned him respect in his community, but also set him on a collision course with history. When America entered World War I in 1917, Alvin was drafted into the Army. His faith now conflicted with his duty. Could a man who believed killing was a sin ever pick up a gun and fight? Alvin's struggle wasn't just personal. It was a question that would define his legacy and inspire a nation. This is the story of a man wrestling with his conscience, who would ultimately become one of the most celebrated soldiers in American history. Stay with us as we dive deeper into Alvin York's incredible journey, from a conflicted farmer to a legendary war hero who captured over 130 enemy soldiers in a single battle, changing the course of World War I forever. Imagine being torn apart inside, your heart telling you one thing, your country calling you to do another. This was the impossible choice facing Alvin York when the U.S. government drafted him in 1917. A man of deep faith and firm pacifist beliefs now had to decide. Could he kill in war and still honor his conscience? When the Selective Service Act forced Alvin to report for duty, he didn't rush to enlist. In fact, he tried everything he could to avoid fighting. Alvin declared himself a conscientious objector, someone who refuses to bear arms for religious reasons. He was prepared to face prison rather than break his moral code. His case was heard by a military tribunal, and Alvin stood firm. He argued that killing was against his Christian beliefs. The judge asked him bluntly, "If you were faced with a threat to your country, would you defend it?" Alvin's answer wasn't simple. He admitted he didn't want to kill, but he also couldn't ignore his duty to protect his fellow citizens. After days of soul-searching, prayer, and deep conversations with his commanding officers, Alvin made a difficult decision. He chose to fight, but only as a last resort and only when it was necessary to save lives. He believed it was justifiable to use violence in defense of the innocent and the greater good. This decision marked a turning point. Alvin wasn't just a pacifist anymore. He was a soldier with a cause. Training was brutal and grueling. Alvin had to master new skills quickly, learning military tactics, marching for miles, and handling weapons under pressure. Despite his quiet nature, his sharpshooting skills shone through. His instructors recognized him as one of the best marksmen in the entire Army. Then came the moment that would define his life. The Meuse-Argonne Offensive, the largest American battle of World War I. On October 8, 1918, Alvin and his unit moved deep into enemy territory, tasked with breaking through German lines in the dense Argonne forest. The battle was fierce, chaotic, and deadly. Enemy machine guns raked the forest floor. Allied soldiers fell all around. When Alvin's commanding officers were killed or wounded, the responsibility fell on his shoulders. What happened next will become the stuff of legend. Alvin York transformed from a reluctant soldier into a fearless leader. Using his unmatched sharpshooting skills and quick thinking, he took out multiple enemy machine gun nests one by one. With a small group of men, he pushed forward, capturing German soldiers and turning the tide of the battle. By the end of the day, Alvin York had single-handedly captured 132 enemy troops and saved countless American lives. His story wasn't just about bravery. It was about a man overcoming his deepest fears and doubts to do what was right. Alvin York's journey reminds us that true courage isn't the absence of fear, it's fighting despite it. On the morning of October 8, 1918, Alvin York's fate, and that of his comrades, would change forever. The Meuse-Argonne Offensive, the largest battle involving the American Army in World War I, was underway. Their mission, to push through the dense and deadly Argonne forest, filled with hidden dangers and well-fortified enemy soldiers. As York's unit reached the front lines, they were met with a brutal ambush. Machine guns roared, and many officers were quickly killed or wounded. In the chaos, Alvin took charge. With incredible calm and unmatched marksmanship, he began taking out enemy machine gun nests one by one. Using his skills as a hunter and sharpshooter, he eliminated more than 20 enemy soldiers. But what made his actions truly remarkable was his ability to stay composed under extreme pressure. Instead of retreating or giving up, York gathered a group of captured German soldiers and, with courage and leadership, convinced them to surrender. By the end of the day, he had captured 132 enemy troops, a feat almost unimaginable for a single man. This act of heroism not only saved his unit, but also played a critical role in the Allied advance during the war. Alvin York's bravery became a national symbol of courage and sacrifice. His story reminds us that even in the darkest moments, determination and valor can change the course of history. After his incredible heroics on October 8, 1918, Alvin York quickly became a national sensation. Newspapers across the United States celebrated his courage and determination, portraying him as the embodiment of the American spirit. But for York, the attention was overwhelming. He never sought fame or fortune. His motivation was simple, doing what he believed was right. Yet, the U.S. government recognized his extraordinary bravery by awarding him the Medal of Honor, the nation's highest military decoration. President Woodrow Wilson personally presented the medal to York, praising him for his valiant and unselfish service. York's story didn't just inspire soldiers. It captivated everyday Americans. His humble background and strong faith made him a relatable hero, someone who represented the best of America's values: courage, humility, and sacrifice. After the war, York used his fame for good. He returned to Tennessee and dedicated himself to education and helping his community. He helped build schools and improve opportunities for poor children in the Appalachian region. York's legacy lives on in many ways. His story has been told in books, documentaries, and even a major Hollywood film, Sergeant York, starring Gary Cooper, which won 2 Academy Awards. More than just a war hero, Alvin York became a symbol of moral courage and patriotism. Today, memorials, schools, and parks across the United States honor his name. His life reminds us that true heroism isn't just about battlefield glory. It's about standing up for your beliefs, facing challenges with faith, and making a lasting difference in your community and country. Alvin York's journey from a conflicted farmer to a legendary soldier teaches us that greatness can come from the most unexpected places, and that ordinary people can do extraordinary things. After returning home from World War I, Alvin York faced a new kind of challenge: adjusting to civilian life. Unlike many soldiers who struggle with fame or trauma, York remained humble and focused on helping others. He returned to his roots in Tennessee, determined to use his experiences to make a difference. One of York's biggest passions after the war was education. He believed that knowledge was a key to improving lives, especially in the rural Appalachian region where he grew up. Using his own war earnings and public donations, he helped build schools to provide children with opportunities he never had. York also worked tirelessly to support veterans and promote patriotism. He traveled the country giving speeches, sharing his story, and encouraging young Americans to serve their country with honor and integrity. But despite the spotlight, York never lost sight of his values. He remained a man of faith, humility, and quiet strength. Though his battlefield days were behind him, York's impact continued to grow. His story became an American legend, symbolizing courage in the face of fear and the power of doing what's right, even when it's difficult. He proved that true heroism isn't just about combat. It's about leadership, responsibility, and service. Alvin York's legacy lives on today, inspiring generations of Americans to stand up for their beliefs and contribute to their communities. Schools, parks, and memorials bear his name, and his life is taught as an example of bravery and moral courage. His journey from a conflicted young man to one of America's greatest heroes reminds us all that ordinary people have the power to change history through courage, faith, and determination. Alvin York's story didn't end when the guns fell silent. In his final years, he remained a proud American patriot, dedicated to the values that shaped his life: faith, family, and freedom. He lived modestly in the hills of Tennessee, far from the spotlight, but never far from service. York continued working tirelessly to improve his community, building schools and helping young people find hope and purpose. To him, education was the foundation of a strong America, a way to honor the sacrifices of those who fought for freedom. York's legacy is more than medals or movies. It's the spirit of an American who answered the call of duty with courage and humility. He embodied the belief that true patriotism means standing up for what is right, even when it's hard, and serving others selflessly. Across the nation, York's name lives on in memorials, schools, and stories passed from generation to generation. He is a symbol of the American ideal, a man who rose from humble beginnings to become a hero not just on the battlefield, but in the hearts of his countrymen. For patriotic Americans, Alvin York stands as a reminder that freedom isn't free. It's earned by those willing to fight for it, and to live by the values that make America great. Alvin York's story isn't just history. It's a living legacy. A legacy of courage, faith, and unwavering commitment to something greater than himself. From the quiet hills of Tennessee to the thunderous battlefields of World War I, York showed us what it truly means to be an American hero. His incredible bravery changed the course of the war, but his real victory was the example he set for generations to come. He taught us that true heroism isn't measured by medals or fame, but by the strength of character, the courage to face your fears, and humility to serve others selflessly. Today, when Americans look back on moments of challenge and sacrifice, Alvin York's name shines as a beacon of hope and pride. His life reminds us that ordinary people with faith, determination, and heart can achieve the extraordinary. In a world that often feels divided, Alvin's story calls us to unite around shared values: freedom, responsibility, and the courage to stand up for what's right. His legacy is not just in history books. It lives in every act of bravery, every choice to serve, and every heart that beats with love for this great nation. Alvin York showed us the power of one person to make a difference. And that power, it lives inside each of us.